Hello and welcome back to episode 5 of the Font Forecast. My name is Mike Owens. That man over there is Rob Font. And as always, we're bringing you your weekly preview of the week's action in the UFC and MMA. Rob, how are things with you, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. Ready for another podcast. I'm excited. It was a solid pay-per-view, that last pay-per-view, and yeah, I'm ready. How you doing?
I'm good, but I've got to say before we get started, Rob kind of threw me under the bus last week. He said any bad picks, blame on Mike, and I checked the record. I think I went 0-3. Drew's over getting beat, Henry Cejudo getting beat,
Yeah,
and Gilbert Burns getting beat. So it wasn't a great week for me in terms of betting. So apologies to anyone who's watching this who lost some
it's
money.
all good, man. You know who to listen to, man.
Randy Brown has a podcast. I don't know if you know this. Randy Brown's podcast is called The Pro and the Bro. Feels a little bit like one of those situations where the pro knows what he's talking about and the bro doesn't have a clue.
And but yeah, I'm sure you're gonna have your day some days, but it just wasn't your week last week.
100%, 100%. Well, obviously, as we mentioned, we give you your weekend's action, your weekend's preview for UFC 288. But this week, the Octagon returns to Charlotte, North Carolina. Rob, any relationship with North Carolina or Charlotte?
Never been. Been to South Carolina. I actually supposed to fight Cody Stamann there, and then he pulled out. And then I was supposed to fight John Lineker. He pulled out. So anyways, so I've been close to North Carolina, but yeah, never been. Heard there's a lot of barbecue spots out there we need to go to. Yeah, I like how the UFC is kind of going to these smaller towns and promoting the sport. And it's
Mm.
on ABC, so it's gonna be a lot of eyes on this card, and this card is stacked. So yeah, it's gonna be another great night of fights.
It's good to see the UFC is starting to get back on the road and get back to that old feel of like the circus, where every week it's the new town, the new place, because that's the sport that we know and love. You know, the Apex has served its purpose, but it's all about
Yeah,
the fan and the fans being able to enjoy you guys in action.
100%. Like there's a different feel when you get the fans. You get to go out there, and as far as the fighters, you get to go to different states and travel and see different sites, see different obviously arenas. All that, all those little things add up when you're a fighter, and then obviously even for the family, if you're on the card and your family now gets to come travel and get to see new sites, and so yeah, I like you said, it's like the circus. So wherever they just kind of like travel, they pop up, set up shop, and then they leave. So I like it. They need to keep it coming, and yeah, this one's gonna be fun. I like this card a lot.
Well, let's get into the main event a little bit because it's a big fight. Well, it's big boys, a heavyweight. We're going to probably be over 500 pounds. They'll probably be in the Octagon on Saturday night. Number 9 ranked Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus number 12 Jailton Almeida. Sign this one up for me, Rob. What are you seeing on the outside?
This is gonna be a crazy first round. Crazy first round. I love how Almeida comes out with something quick, either a jab, a teep, or something, get straight to a takedown, or at least attempt a takedown. Usually gets it, usually gets on top, and then it's just brutal down there, man. He's down there. I've never seen anybody like get off ground and pound like that. He's just so like consistent with his ground and pound from the mount, from side control. He really if you ever get up on your elbow, he ties up that wrist, locks you down, and kind of like just keeps you there. He runs you through the same cycles. Either you're giving up your back, you're giving up that arm triangle, or you're getting TKO'd. Then that's a scary dude. And then obviously Rozenstruik, man, that guy can strike. He's fun. He's gonna need to use his footwork though. He can really punch, kick, everything. He puts it all together. He's real clean. I love his striking style. He can get you out of the first round too as well. But I don't see it happening, man. This guy, Jailton, how you pronounce his name?
I pronounce Jailton.
Jailton Almeida, man. He's just vicious when he gets on top. He knows exactly what he wants to do. He's proven it time and time again. He's beat big guys like Parker Porter. It's hard to kind of bet against him. He's he like I said, he knows what he wants to do. When you got a guy that has a clear path for what he wants to do and what he's trying to do, it's very scary, and he's been successful at it. Um, and he's on, like I said, he's on a what is it, 5 in a row? So he's got a lot of momentum on his side. So it's it's definitely the striker versus the grappler. Obviously, as a striker, I love Rozenstruik, and I love what he does, and I love how he puts it together. I just don't think it's going to be his night.
I agree. I think what first thing I'll say, I don't think Jairzinho Rozenstruik gets the respect that he deserves because not only is he a very skilled martial artist, as you mentioned, he's super entertaining. He's does win, lose or draw. He's never in a boring fight. Having said that, I'm going to go out there and say I think Jailton Almeida is the real deal. I think he's just got everything of a super prospect. You know, we see a lot of prospects. We hear the word prospect a lot in this sport, but I think he's got super prospect written all over him. I think, as you mentioned there, the ability for such a big man to be so positionally strong, to almost have that Damian Maia, Jacare-like feel at 17, 18 stone or 240 pounds is crazy. And I can't see anything, but I can't see this fight going out the first round because I think both are so powerful in their own areas. But I think this has got an Almeida finish on the ground all written all over.
I might be going crazy, but I think he might positionally be better than a Jacare or a Damian Maia. Like obviously the position wise, but I don't think they ever came close to putting that much damage from the striking. It's impressive. Like he gets down there and he's just like hammerfish are nonstop, and then guys don't even come close to escaping like the half guard. And again, like obviously we'll see as he climbs the ranks as far as like the tougher fights, but it's still like I don't know, man. Like it's heavyweight too, the way he's doing it, the way he makes it look too easy. It's impressive, it's scary, and I think he gets him out of the first round.
There's a couple of guys coming up at heavyweight now. Heavyweight was always the dormant division, if you like. Now we've got obviously from my neck of the woods, we've got Tom Aspinall, obviously had the loss to Blade, but we'll rebound. We've got Pavlovich doing his thing, and then this guy Almeida just seemed. I think what's so interesting about Almeida, Rob, is he's so unique. Like a lot of heavyweights are either college wrestlers, American college wrestlers, or European strikers. And Jailton Almeida's just come out like a bat out of hell, and I think he's going to really cause problems for people.
Yeah, he has that jiu-jitsu slash, but it's more like wrestling kind of Khabib grind where it's a long miserable night for you if you end up on your back with that guy.
And it's got to be said as well, I know he originally had some fights at 205, but he's the perfect. He's a crazy build for 205, but he's the perfect build for a heavyweight. Strong, muscular, lean, just got the perfect body. You look at someone and you just think this guy looks like a UFC 4 character. That's the best way I can describe him.
Exactly, like when you say like some of these heavyweights are a little soft, but not this guy. He's shredded out of his mind. His technique it's not like he's just muscling through it too either. That's the scary part. He's not muscling through these positions or these takedowns. He's getting to the double. He's getting his hands connected, putting you down, slowly working through the half guard, getting to mount, and then just keeping you there. And then if you're not technically sound, you're not going to muscle out of it. You can't muscle out of a guy like that. And if you do, you might muscle out of a position maybe 1 or 2 times. But yeah, if it does happen, you're not making it out of the second round with that same kind of strategy. So you're going to have to be technical. Can technique catch up with his technique? It's I don't know, man. It's scary.
Look, I think if anyone is watching this podcast, it's pretty clear who Rob and I are going to predict is going to get the win on this one. I think also at minus 500 odds, I think it's pretty obvious who the bookmakers are going for. I guess the question is, Rob, we both agreed it's going to go early. I guess the question is TKO or submission?
I'm thinking TKO. I think he puts him on his back. He gets mounted and he just rains down with those elbows and those hammer fists. I think I'm going first round TKO. But the best thing about it is with Rozenstruik, this is going to be a fun. If he can use his feet for the first 2 minutes, I'm praying he does. And just doesn't stand there or throw any crazy kicks. He can make it entertaining. He can make it. He has big power. He's confident. He hurts you. He's running around, throwing big shots at you, throwing flying knees. He can get him out of here in the first round as well. But I think one takedown and it's over. He gets one takedown, it's over. So we'll see.
I agree. I think TKO on the ground. I think for Rozenstruik, he's got to use that check hook. That check hook that he got Arlovsky with, the check hook that he got Chris Daukaus with in the last fight. That's the one weapon if Almeida comes in. But I think Almeida's the real deal, and I think
he's so smart how he does it. He throws like a straight.
Look at us just waxing lyrical about this Brazilian powerhouse. Look at it. We're not even. We can be completely biased, and we're just making it completely obvious who we like in this one. Look at us.
It's so bad. It's so bad because he comes out same thing. It's either straight shot with a jab or straight with a teep, and then double leg. And then if he can't get the double leg, he's on the back, and it's like It's impressive, man. It's so like clean. It's not like it's wild. It's basic stuff, and you just can't. Some of these guys just can't stop it.
100%. I think it's pretty obvious who we're going with on that one. So if the bet doesn't come in, then you can blame both Rob and I. That's not me this time. Co-main event: Anthony Smith versus Johnny Walker, number 5 versus number 7. In a way, it kind of feels similar to the main event in terms of we know what Anthony Smith does well. Johnny Walker's been around for a while, but do we actually know how good he is? Where is he at in his career? What do you think on this one?
You know, Anthony Smith, man, he's been around forever. You know, he's fought in, I believe, all 3 promotions from Bellator, Strike Force, obviously the UFC. He's fought everybody. He kind of like he's a mix of brawling and he can be technical all at the same time. You know, solid jiu-jitsu, real slick on the ground as far as jiu-jitsu. You know, it's unfortunate his last fight, he kind of like, I believe he broke his leg his last fight, right? Like,
yeah, he broke his leg in the Ankalaev fight.
Yeah, so like I forget when I remember I was watching. I thought he tried to pull guard. It was just awkward. So it was just an awkward fight. Like so I felt bad for him. He's coming off the loss, coming off an injury. So I know he's dying to get back. He's itching to get another W. You know, Johnny Walker. He's a taller, more explosive, kind of all over the place kind of fighter. As far as like even when he trains, I know he trains. He was training in different camps and kind of traveling around and getting different looks, which is good. He's wild. You know, like his last fight, he caught that kick. He just started kind of like just backhand, big punches, big shots. You know, obviously he took a couple of losses, especially against Jamal Hill. That was a big knockout. You know, so you know he's there to be hit. As far as like once Anthony gets his jab going, like I said, he can technically beat him up, but if it's anything like the back and forth, he can also brawl with him too as well. You know, so I like Anthony Smith in this fight. You know, I think the veteran comes out on this one. I think he keeps it technical for a few, mixes in takedowns, mixes it up, kind of shows him different looks, and then and I think he gets him out of there. I think he gets a second round TKO.
No, I think I agree. I think Johnny Walker, this 2-fight win streak he's on, you can look at it on paper and go, wow, 2 first-round stoppages, isn't he improved? But you've got against Dion Cutelaba, who Eon made a lot of mistakes in that matchup and kind of does with his style, and every fight leaves a lot of openings. And then you've got the Paul Craig knockout that you mentioned, where Paul Craig kept a hold of Johnny Walker's leg too long and got hammer-fisted into the ground. It's like, are they great victories, or are they victories as a result of capitalizing on opponent's mistakes? Whereas Anthony Smith, you know, it's not too long ago he was on that 3-fight win streak with the Devin Clark win, the Jimmy Crute win, and the Ryan Spann win.
That Jimmy Crute low kick, savage, man.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the word veteran is the perfect way to describe him in this fight. He's got to have to use all his veteran tricks, the low kick, the jab, even clinching up Johnny Walker, getting out the way of that power. I think a lot of people will look at this and go, this is Johnny Walker's fight to lose, but I think it's Anthony Smith's fight to lose. I think he gets it done. I'm maybe not saying second, I'm maybe thinking 4th or 5th round submission, similar to the Gustafsson fight, you know, drag him into deep waters and kind of get him late, I'm thinking.
No,
it's a 3-round fight, my mistake. You can't get him late, can he? I'm going to go with 3rd round submission, Rob.
Is the co-main? Oh, no, they're not. Yeah, all right.
This is co-main.
Yeah, man. Like you said, like it's like, is it more like you said, like is it more explosive? Is it more like his opponents making mistakes and Johnny Walker's winning these fights? You know, against a veteran like Anthony Smith, I don't think he's going to make those mistakes. I think he'll capitalize on Walker's mistakes if he makes any of them, and if he not, I think if he doesn't, I think he can kind of force him to make mistakes with his basic punches, basic kicks, you know, and get him reaching and catch him coming in and catch something big. But I'm excited for Anthony Smith. You know, he's a great dude. You know, he's always at the fights. Yeah, I'm excited for this fight.
I agree. And to be quite honest, I think this was originally meant to be the main event, but I'm kind of surprised it's not, because both guys have got, you could argue, bigger star power than the guys in the main event. It's probably going to be a slightly more even fight. Like, this fight can go either way. We've both just kind of said how we think Almeida's going to run over Rozenstruik. This fight is really hanging in the balance. I am kind of surprised it's not the headliner.
Nah, it's like Almeida that much, bro. I think everybody does.
You just like heavyweights because you know it gets better chance of going early.
They're gonna go at it. That cage is gonna be rattling. The canvas is gonna be so loud. Like they just bring a different energy.
100%. Featured bout on the card I want to talk about. Number 15 ranked welterweight Daniel D. Rodriguez is in against Ireland's Ian Garry. Now, the first question I want to ask you about this fight, Rob, is what do you think the odds are? Have you had a chance to check, or what would you guess the odds are on this one?
I haven't guessed, but I gotta assume they're crazy going for Ian. You know, and I think that's a mistake. Do you know what the odds are?
Ian Garry is minus 300. That was the worst odds I could find.
I gotta bet some money on my boy D-Rod, man. I'm putting on some. D-Rod has that solid left hand. He'll throw some kicks. He's been around a few. He's got some experience. Unfortunately, had a couple of hand injuries here and there, but he if he can put together more than 2 or 3 punches, not a single shot with this guy, I think he gets him out of there. It's going to be hard though because Ian he's long, he's rangy, he mixes in the kicks with the punches really well. He knows his range. You know, like he's kicking when he's supposed to be kicking. He's elbowing the knee when he's supposed to be elbowing the knee. He's not forcing anything. He's 12-0, 11-0, 11-0 as you know, saying as a pro, 4-0 in the UFC. Got the momentum. He has Conor McGregor behind him. You know, so you know that's got to like get you up and going. You know, but I think the UFC picked the wrong one with that D-Rod, man. I think he's too calm. He's a dog. He you know, it's that classic. I mean, and obviously they both switch stances, but it's more of a southpaw versus orthodox fight. And I think, you know, with the way Daniel goes to the body, the way he throws that big left hand and follows through, if he can kind of come with more than just 2 or 3 punches, catch him on one and keep backing him up, I think he had a shot. But this is a great fight, and I'm definitely putting some money on D-Rod.
No, I've got to be honest. I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm gonna pick Ian Garry to get the win, but I'm not going to pick him to get the win at minus 300. I think this is a really, really close fight. I'm actually quite surprised that the odds makers have wrote D-Rod off a little bit because he was coming in with a lot of hype. I think he had won 8 of his last 9 before he had his last fight against Neil Magny, where he got that was a fight that he was winning as well before he kind of gassed at the end, and then Neil got that Darce late on. So, you know, even in his last fight, which was a losing effort, it was a good performance in many ways. He showed a lot. I'm really surprised that the people, especially the American odds makers, are writing D-Rod off. Maybe it's the Conor McGregor factor, maybe it's the highlight reel that Ian Garry has, but I think it'd be a close fight. And I'll tell you what, for 3 rounds, I don't see the man getting a finish. I think this is going to be a real dogfight, 29-28 either way.
Yeah, he's been in there. He's been there with some big guys. I'm some longer guys, like you said, like Neil Magny. He was doing great. He was landing big shots until he got choked. Yeah, I don't think the odds should be that big of a gap, but hey, it is what it is, you know. So Vegas gets it wrong sometimes, and I believe I'm getting it right this one.
The other point I want to mention on this fight as well is Ian Garry's last fight was UFC 285, which was only the 5th of March. So it's about a 9-week turnaround. Now that fight, if you remember, he got dropped in the first round, where he nearly got stopped.
Yeah, he got the age on that one.
Yeah, he got stopped. He stopped Song Kin-on on, I think, late into the 3rd round, like 14.5 minutes in. You know, really close to the final bell. I think that's quite close. Just 9 weeks to have gone to a 3-round war where you've been dropped and then gone in to fight a power puncher like D-Rod. That's another thing that's on the Americans side.
I'm glad you brought that up because, like, you know, like that's it's real, man. You start getting these little dings here and there, and before you know it, you're getting hit with shots that you normally, you know, like don't put you down, and they're putting you down. And yeah, it's a great question. Is he coming back too early? You know, is he risking it all to come? Not risking it all, but is he not really thinking about this? He's just kind of jumping back in there and trying to keep the you know, saying the hype train going. And it, you know, especially young in your career, you definitely don't want to take any time off, especially when you're winning the way you are, you know. So like, but that could be, you know, I don't think so, but you never know. Like, I think that's the weird part about your brain and your jaw, man. Like, you know, like it's all on. It's all like there's never like any science to it. You know, it just happens. You know, you don't really know. And then I think, but I don't think that's the case here. You know, as far as him getting, hit, I do believe he's going to get hit, and we're going to find out if he did come back too early. I think, yeah, I'm really high on D-Rod. He's crazy, man. That dude's a fucking maniac. I met him a couple times at the PI, and like I could just see it in him, man. That guy, dude, is something. He's a killer. There's a killer in that guy, man. And I think he's gonna bring it out. I think he's gonna bring it out on Saturday.
Daniel, just a fun fact, Daniel Rodriguez was the first piece of content I ever wrote. First piece of MMA journalism I ever did. I wrote a preview for one of Daniel Rodriguez's fights, and I sent it to him, and he said, "Nice work." And then I said, "Can I have an interview?" And I never heard back. So I don't know how I feel about D-Rod. Don't know how I feel about D-Rod. It's still left a bitter taste in my mouth. But yeah, it's good that we've at least got on different fights for this one, Rob, so we can have a little bit of friendly competition, because we're going with the same and main and
Let's go.
co-mains. Let's see who gets this one done.
Let's go, because it did not work out for you last week.
Rounding off the end of this card, any other fights that jump off the screen that you want to highlight before we wrap up?
You know, obviously you have Matt Brown, Tim Means, veterans going at it. Both tall, lanky guys. You have the Cody Stamann versus Douglas Silva.
I was going to say that former opponents. You've got a guy who you fought and a guy who you were meant to fight, I believe, as well. There was a bit of beef. There was a bit of beef with you and Cody Stamann at one point, wasn't there?
A little bit like that. Yes and no. Like, it was kind of like we got the offer for the fight, and we said, yeah, of course, let's do it. And then out of nowhere, it just nothing happened. The contract wasn't going on. Like it just nobody's getting. You know what I'm saying? No, there was no response. So I DM'd him like, yo, what's going on? Like, I know they said you said yes to the fight. Like, are we fighting? Are we doing this? And it's kind of, he was like, yeah, I said yes a long time ago. Then it was kind of like, and then I guess his manager got a little upset that like I didn't keep it business, and I made it. I got in between the managers, and I just so I was like, all right, whatever, bro. Like, but what say if like if you said yes to go like a couple weeks ago, how long does it take to take a fight? Like it's everybody has email, everybody has a phone. Like it's pretty easy, just say yes or no, and then so like there was a little bit, but it was nothing too crazy. And then obviously that he pulled out from the fight. And that was when we were talking about earlier about South Carolina, and then supposed to fight Lineker. He pulls out again, so we actually didn't fight that night. But yeah, we I always kind of had him in mind, like we'll eventually fight. And I actually fought Douglas. So he was supposed to be my debut. Actually, I was supposed to fight him on my debut, and
that's a tough debut.
Yeah, at that time I think he fought at 45 too.
Yeah,
it was like he was something like 20-21 or something like that. It was crazy. Just like, all right, let's go. Like then I guess he got injured. I don't know what happened, exactly what happened. But he got injured, and then they brought in George Root maybe like 3 weeks before that fight. But yeah, so we're supposed to fight him. I like this fight. It's gonna be fun. Andrade is just a mean old man. Like he just looks so mean. He's just like got that fucking style. He's a little older, but I like his punching style. I like his grit. He comes forward. He's just mean. Then obviously you got Cody Stamann. I think a lot of people don't respect his striking. I think he's coming a little better with the striking. Obviously a great wrestler. But I think what hurts him is kind of like he has like a more of a laid back, I'm gonna just do enough to win the fight kind of style. So I don't think you really hear too much about him. And then obviously it was a while. I think at one point he was ranked pretty high. He was
certainly top. He was certainly top 15.
Top 10. Yeah, he was top 10, or maybe obviously definitely top 15. But I think at one point maybe been top 10. But he was ranked pretty high. Lost a couple fights, but he's always dangerous. He's training now with Extreme Couture. He's out there in Vegas. He's with all those guys, the PI. So he has everything, saying right there for him. So this is going to be another interesting bantamweight fight. The bantamweights always bring it. Yeah, I'm excited for this one as well. Who do you think he's winning this one?
I think I'm going to go Cody Stamann. I think, as you mentioned there, I think he's got enough in the tank, enough skill set wise to win 2 rounds out of 3. I think Andrade, I think with the power punching and the aggressiveness, always kinds of wins around, just because maybe if he's landing a lot on the gloves, or he's missing a lot the optics with the big overhands, it scores. If you know what I'm trying to say. So yeah. I think he'll have success, but I think Cody Stamann will have enough. Obviously, the mixing the wrestling will be key, but I think Cody Stamann will have enough to to get this one over the line.
Yeah, another one. It's another good fight. There's a lot of fights in this card. I'm excited. I think it's kind of like flying on the radar, but I think it's going to play out nice. And they're on ABC. It's going to have a lot of eyes on the fight, and so great card, man.
100%. Before we wrap up, just very quickly, obviously the world title fight took place in your division on Saturday night. A lot of contention online about the scoring, so I just want to get your thoughts on your overall analysis of the fight and who you thought deserved to get the victory.
I believe I got to go back and look. Like I did a fight night live with Mike Heck, and I believe while we were watching, I gave Henry third and fifth round. But I got to go back and watch. But I had my feeling the whole time. I had Aljamain winning the whole time. I don't think they man, think about it. I feel like they both didn't do enough to kind of like really wow the fans and like really put on that fight. It was kind of like I expected a little bit more. I think the cleanest, slickest thing was that little peek out Aljamain did when Henry was down there. Obviously, it was pretty cool. I've seen Henry do the full on splits and all that. But it was kind of like a lots of like looking at each other, a couple kicks here and there, getting to the clinch, and then try to get a takedown. And as far as even as a fan, it's kind of like all right. It's like we're gonna throw one punch, or we're gonna like what are we gonna do here? Are we just gonna kind of like stand in front of each other, kind of bounce around and tap each other with kicks, and then so it was kind of hard to kind of like really like as a fan be entertained. As a fighter, there's a lot in there to kind of learn from adjustment as far as the moment Aljamain felt what Henry wanted to do inside the clinch, as far as like the inside trip, he adjusted and it never happened again. The inside trip from Henry was slick. Again, that peek out is high-level wrestling stuff. You got an Olympic wrestler on top of you, you're peeking out and getting on top. That shows how smooth Aljamain is, taking his back. Not fully taking it back, but like always threatening that back escape. That back take. So there is a lot to learn from that fight. As far as a fighter, there's a lot to work as far as to kind of study for and prepare for and all that. But as a fight fan, I can't be excited the next day to go watch that fight. It's just like, and it's tough because it's kind of like, you got the whole build up, you got everybody, like hyping this fight up, and then that plays out. And it was like, and then you almost feel bad for Sterling because it's kind of like he's getting booed in Jersey. Like he can, every fight he wins, there's always like that little asterisk on top of it. Like now he beat Henry Cejudo, but it's like, yeah, I can see how everybody's gonna be like, yeah, he beat him, but it was close. Now, some people think Henry won, and at that he beat a retired fighter that's been off 3 years. So, he's never really gonna get that clear cut win. It sucks, like that fight. Obviously the TJ fight with the whole shoulders scenario, and the Peter Yan fight, that kind of. So it's kind of like I kind of feel bad for him at the same time because I think. Like he doesn't have that clear cut win that kind of makes him like legit, at least in the fans' eyes and the people's eyes. Obviously we all know he's legit. He's what he's done in the bantamweight division is hard. Like nobody just does that like the way he's doing and keeps winning consistently the way he's winning. So but then it's kind of hard to kind of like gear up for another Aljamain Sterling fight. You're like, all right, we're gonna get a lot of talk. We're gonna get a lot of like the tip tat tat and then a takedown. And it's great when it like the TJ fight, when you get him out of there quick and or even like Almeida, like we're talking about the heavyweight. You get
not Almeida again, Rob. We can't mention that man's name again.
We're back. You get in there, you take him down, get that ground and pound, get it going. Like, yeah, it's fine. But when it's just it's kind of like, all right, man. Respect for him, obviously as a fight fan, it's not the sexiest fight. It wasn't the most entertaining fight, but as a fighter, I respect what they both did. I know how hard it is to be in there wrestling the way they were wrestling. So, I can respect that. But it was like, I guess it was so-so, I would say.
Couldn't agree more. I think that's the best place for us to end is talking about the title fight in your division, because one day that'll be you fighting for that belt, Rob. I'm sure. Maybe in Boston. It's Rob, always a pleasure to get your time. It's always a pleasure to catch up. I think we're really starting to hit our stride a little bit. We're really starting to see reap the rewards of the Font forecast in just these first few weeks. So if you've made it this far, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I'll hand over to you for the last word, my man.
Again, man, thanks for doing this with me. It's always a pleasure every week. Conversate with you, talk about these fights and give our picks and our opinions and